How do you start and grow your privacy career? What salary can you expect? Is privacy for everyone? And what goes into a good privacy professional? Well, these questions and more with my dear friend Akarsh Singh, who's also the CEO of Tsaaro, and we share our journey and he brings in his experience of working with different people. Let's go and meet Akarsh.
Hello, and welcome to the Fit for Privacy podcast with Punit Bhatia. This is the podcast for those who care about their privacy. Here, your host, Punit Bhatia, has conversations with industry leaders about their perspectives, ideas, and opinions relating to privacy, data protection, and related matters. Be aware that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are not legal advice. Let us get started.
So here we are with Akarsh Singh, the CEO of Tsaaro. Welcome, Akarsh.
Thank you, Mr. Punit, for giving me an opportunity to be here on Fit for Privacy podcast. I've been hearing this from a very long time, and even before I was doing podcasts, even before I was in privacy, I think at that point in time, the conversations that were there on YouTube, it was super helpful, and yeah, I'm super excited to be on the podcast now. Yeah, from listening to it and to being on it, it's a privilege.
Thank you so much, Akash. I mean, it's a journey. If you remember, a few years ago, I didn't have a podcast, I didn't have a company, you didn't have a company, and we were talking about how do we grow our career, starts our careers in privacy. And then we both have grown, we both have come a long way. But it'll be fascinating to have that conversation about how do you start and grow your career in privacy in this episode. But as we start, maybe from someone who has seen this journey in privacy and is helping a lot of people, how do you see or how would you describe GDPR in one word?
Trouble.
That's a nice, honest word coming from.
I
That's a
can.
very good one. You want to put a line or two to contextualize because I know coming from where we both are coming, how we see things. But for someone in US or
See, the
Europe,
thing
they
is,
would be
the
troubled
thing
to hear the word.
Yeah, I think what happened is, even when it's been like 2018, when privacy started or the world of privacy started, people became serious. There was a law, which was GDPR. I personally feel that as a human civilization, organizations were not ready for it. And when when GDPR came in, I think a lot of people did not realize to what extent that compliance is gonna go. So once the consent framework is done, the next problem starts, the deletion framework, then the retention framework, then data localization, right? And then it comes and everything is going fine. Then there will be a DSR where an employee will say, 30-year-old employee will say, delete all the data that you have about me, or he requests for an access. So I'm just saying it's beautiful, right? Privacy world is beautiful right now. But I personally feel that it was definitely trouble. It is still definitely trouble for organizations because it's a lot of money. It gets invested in solving one problem each. So yeah, it's my take.
No, that's interesting take. It's on the two sides, trouble and beautiful. So I like it.
Yeah.
So how do we start a career in privacy? And there I would like to start with very basic question. A lot of people think privacy is for me because this good salary, good jobs, and it's fancy, it's in and all those. However, we also need to understand that in privacy there are different skills that play in. I mean, if you're a CPO, it's a different skill set. If you are a DPO, it's a different skill set. If you're a privacy analyst, it's a different skill set, and all the other roles, because otherwise it gets complex. So in your view, who is privacy career for and who is it not for, or how would you distinguish, advise somebody who says I want to be in privacy?
Yeah, I think that's like first of all, I think I still do not have a privilege to kind of decide for someone, and I would refrain from doing that. But if asked like who is it for, I think uh, one of the people that I see, one of the skills that I see very important. A lot of people think that it's the law, and a lot of people think that it's engineering or somewhere in between. But I also feel that one of the most important skills as a privacy professional is also being, an extrovert, because a privacy professional is somebody who needs to talk to everyone in the organization, and the job is so serious that without him nothing is going to move today. So somebody who can talk well, somebody who's smart to understand the law and then understand how it will get implemented, not just understand the law also, right? Also understand the truth of the organization and agree that okay, yes, the organization is going to mature over a period of time. It's not going to happen that today every the world is going to change. So I think somebody who is mature can talk really well and also is very smart with the law, right? Very smart with the law. So I think I would rather say that 90% of professionals that I see in privacy are lawyers, but I see that the 10% of the other, and including me, are increasing a lot because privacy is gone, ahead from a law, and it has become a major need for an organization to survive. So I think the transition is happening right now. Yeah.
I think I would agree with you. Privacy is for everyone. You can fit in wherever you want. However, two core skills are you got to understand the requirements. If you're a legal person, then from a law perspective. If you're a non-legal person, from purely requirements perspective, these are the rules, these are the guidelines. And then you need to have the ability. If you have the ability, the extroversion to connect with people, then it allows you to be effective as a privacy manager, CPO, or DPO. But if you don't have that extroversion, then you need to be prepared for a privacy analyst or a privacy expert kind of a role. People come to you, you answer them, and then you'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
Now, that's the big monkey off saying, who is it for? It's for everyone, but be aware based on your skill set, introversion, extroversion, as we say, you may be fitting into different roles. So don't expect, in my view, of course, an introvert can be a CPO as well with some other skill set. Anyone can be, but practically speaking, there's a lot of options, a lot of choices. Now, if we do that, what would you recommend somebody coming to you? How do you start? Where do you start? Because the legal background or engineering background or any other background is no bar. You can still do it if you are willing to learn the requirements and go and talk to people and tell them what to do. How would you recommend someone to start their career in privacy?
So my suggestion for somebody who starts in a privacy career, usually if I would have restarted, I would have looked back, looked for a mentor first of all, right? Look for somebody who actually knows privacy and maybe just drop them a LinkedIn or reach out to them. There are tons of people I see around who are ready to give advice and also help people understand what is needed as a privacy professional. Then we have professional courses, right? I think first you understand a bit by looking at some YouTube videos. I know even Fit for Privacy has a lot of videos on YouTube to understand different topics, right? How does a supervisory authority think? So there's so many things to do, right? Or maybe you can look at Tsaaro YouTube page, right? So you can look at some videos, search online on YouTube, try to read, try to listen to people also, right? I think not just reading, also listening to people, what their perspective is, and then once you are sure, okay, you're a bit like 20% sure, then I think maybe doing a course depending on who you are a lawyer, you are an information security professional, or you are somebody who's just joining the field. So depending on where you are, choose a course which is right for you and then move on that ladder from there. Yeah, I think, Puneet, that's how I would summarize that.
No, that's perfectly well said. I would have said almost the same thing. Get a mentor. First, familiarize yourself even before you get a mentor. Is privacy for you? Because it's everyone can do it, but it's not for everyone. Personality match needs to happen. You
Yeah.
need to feel comfortable. So get yourself comfortable from Saro videos, Fit for Privacy videos, any other video that comes along. Or even podcast. You have a podcast. I have a podcast. There are many other podcasts. There may be 50 privacy podcasts. Get a feel of what this content is about. Second step is, if you're now familiar and you're certain you want to jump in, dive in, get a mentor along. Ask them how has their journey been. You mentor a lot of people, I mentor a lot of people, and there are many other mentors. And get maybe more than one mentor. Why one? Because everyone brings something else to the table. And follow it up with a course, but choose your course wisely and choose your provider also wisely. Saro provides, Fit for Privacy provides, IAPP provides, everyone provides. And then once you've done the course, what I would add is do an internship, or if you're early in your career, if you're in mid career, then it's different. Do an internship with Saro, do an internship with us or anyone else. Get a feel of things and then go into the journey of privacy careers and grow. Now, if we look at that, do you think everyone should do a certification, CIPP-E, CIPM, CIPT? How do you go about? Because I see some people who have all these certifications and they're looking for then CDPSE and so on. And I tell them, guys, certification is important, but don't only go about certifications.
Yeah, and I think that's a very tough question to answer, or also when we are also resellers of very similar certifications as you mentioned. But I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with everyone who's listening to here, and I am very honest person with the people who are there inside as well. So I feel like it depends on who you are. Certifications may not, I won't say may not, definitely are not the experience of privacy, right? The
Right.
experience of privacy is gold, right? A certification does not guarantee that. What a certification does is, it when you take a certification, if you have experience, that means that with experience you are also following the field, you're also adding badges to yourself, right? So that, see, every time your privacy, you cannot tell your privacy experience to people, right? Mr., how do you know Mr. Punit is an expert of privacy? How do you know Akarsh is an expert of privacy? How will you know in just one instance? At least you have some assurance that he is CIPP, CIPM, CIPT, CDPSE, all the world. At least you have assurance that he studied for it, and at least he has cleared those bars. So somebody who's certified, if there are 10 CVs in front of me for any job role and few CVs are CIPP-E or CIPM or CIPT, then I would prefer them. Because now at least I know that somebody spent enough money and time in privacy to come to this table. And I would invite them to the table first. But that's my perspective, Mr. Puneet. What about you?
I think I have similar perspective. For me, the certification is a ticket
Yeah,
with which you get easy access to interviews, because a lot of companies, a lot of HR are looking at it as like when I'm helping some company or a client recruit, they will say, "Oh, we got 10 CVs, four of them are CIPP, CIP, but these are two CVs. They are very good. However, they don't have the certification." So naturally, the first four or five who have the certification, they get through HR process. But if you have experience, they are also considered, and then it's judgment call. Ah, yes, the experience is good, let's speak to them, and then you judge them. But it does not mean the certification guy just gets the job. The
yeah,
certification guy also has to go through the same rigor, same questions, and if they demonstrate experience and if they're done well, then is when you get the ticket to the job.
definitely. I think
So it's a
certification, yeah, experience, without experience, anyways, nothing is happening. So
right.
experience is a mandatory thing. It's not, no, it's non-negotiable, right? But
Yeah,
Mr. Puneet, I also have, a question for you.
go
If
ahead.
this is your podcast, but I have one quick question because I feel that this is important for listeners.
Mhm.
What if somebody is just joining a field, right, and he cannot get experience, right? So what can he do, right? What's your take? Like somebody who doesn't have experience has what can he do? How does he join the industry?
You know, you stole my question. I was about to ask you that, but let me first answer it. That's good. I like conversation, so
Hmm.
thanks for that. So, in my view, there are two scenarios. One is you have experience, you've been in the industry, you've grown and everything, and then we look at experience and the certification. Sometimes you don't have either, and people are starting to look for job. Then I look for attitude. Then I qualify them and I give them a chance, saying, "Hey, let's do. We will start as a privacy analyst or somewhere junior role, support role." That's one idea. I'm talking about a paid role then. And then we give them 6 months or 9 months to do a CIPP-E or CIPM or CIPT based on which direction we are taking them, or even CIPP Asia. The second option is they become an intern with us. Like there are quite a few people they intern with you. They come few people in there. I use certification as a criteria to get them in. So there are different routes. It depends on which situation you are in, where you are. Typically, fresh out of a college, a legal or an engineer wanting to be in privacy, those are the two routes. You're lucky, you find a company which is willing to train you, you do the certification, and then become relevant. Or else, come with us, you, me, anyone, do a certification, do an internship, and then, of course, in the internship, I'm sure, and I also, we look at who is more smarter, more better. Those better people, we keep them, and the rest, they
Yeah.
just do the internship.
Yeah, and I feel something. So Puneet, you said something very important, which is actually the result also of the internship. So you said that if the attitude is right, anyways, anybody's gonna be the best person. So even if somebody, I feel that smartness or hard work are directly proportional to the attitude that people have while they're joining that internship. And if the attitude is right, everything else ticks the box. I don't know what's your take. I feel that way.
Absolutely. I think we talk about transparency in privacy. I think People also need to be transparent. I had one guy whom I interviewed for a client. He was to come on my payroll and be on the client. For 2 months, he kept dilly-dallying, saying, "Oh yes, I will join. My company is not giving me this. I'm getting negotiating exit," and he was not signing. And then after 2 months, he asked a question: "Can this role be in on-site?" Fine, fair enough. Said, "Not for now, maybe later." And then after 2.5 months, he says, "I found something in somewhere." Now, if you have that in the mind, I ask that as a first question. What are your preferences and how do you see yourself in 2 to 3 years? You can tell me, I see myself in an on site job in a few months or in a few years. Then I can help you shape and I can tell you this is not for you. So, transparency for me or attitude is very important. And then, same way, on another token, I mean, this maybe seems like complaining, but on the other side, when you ask an interview and somebody is saying, "I don't know privacy, but will you train me? Will you do this?" Well, if everything I have to do, then I see that okay, my job is going to increase and I will have a liability in per se. But then there are another person who says, "Sir, I don't know, but if you tell me once, I will certainly learn. I will do my research, and I'm a very good learner, and I'm very very fast." And then I ask them, "Show me, demonstrate me when you have done." And then they say, "When I was in college, I was the president of college. I didn't know how to organize meetings. I learned it this way." Then I know the guy knows his stuff. And he has the right attitude. So and I'm sure you also look at attitude, and you talked about honesty. I take it to the next level and link it to privacy principles. Transparency, accountability. Those two are very, very important for me. Transparency meaning you tell what's on your mind, don't hide, and tell it transparently, because it's okay. It's a relationship we are getting into. When you are hiring or I'm hiring, we need that person for 1 2 years and we expect to deliver, and we have clients back to back commitments. If you are not transparent and 2 months later, when we have trained you, 3 months later you're switching in, maybe you start as an intern. That happens with me sometimes. People, someone with 20 years of experience wanted to be an intern. I asked him or her, almost said something which I shouldn't have revealed the gender. So I asked the person to say, "Do this," and then, but this is not the kind of work I should do after 20 years of experience. The attitude is clear. Do you also pay attention to these things when you're hiring?
Actually, honestly, the latter thing actually happened with me,
Oh,
and this exactly same thing happened with me. And people, they wanted to learn, and they kind of requested so many times that I couldn't say no. And when they had to do the work of an intern, then exactly same thing happened. So I do not have I do not have these things remembering, but I'm just saying like this is an experience that even I am having, and so I think I'm very cognizant about the type of entrepreneurship journey I think we both are going. So yeah, that's where I feel that this is happening. But attitude is 100%. But I think you mentioned two principles, right? Transparency and accountability. I add integrity to it
yeah,
because, as you said, honesty. I think I kind of map it to integrity for myself. And then the next principle that is very important for me is fairness, right? I
yes.
want to be fair with them in terms of their stipend, in terms of the work hours that they're going to put in. So if they're fair enough, so I think GDPR has amazing principles. It applies everywhere, I guess.
Yeah. No, that way I would also like data retention, that they do such a good work that I can retain them and they retain me. That way
Yeah,
we can
and
apply all six principles, but
storage
broadly
limitation. Yeah.
speaking, attitude is what we are looking at.
Yeah.
Now that gets me to another dimension of our conversation. You start your career, you do the certification, and then, of course, you have the right attitude. But end of the day, we all work for money, and there comes the salary aspect, because when you go to a shopping mall, you cannot say, "I'm a very nice person, I'm very transparent, I have integrity, I have honesty, please give me groceries." It doesn't work. You got to give money, and that's where the
Yeah.
money comes in. So what has been your experience? Of course, I'm open to share what is my experience, because people have these opportunities or things in mind, saying, "I want to be there, I want to do that." What is your experience in terms of salaries that people can command, expect at start, and then eventually, of course, sky is the limit?
Yeah, I think most of the jobs, if we kind of summarize, if we summarize, let's say there's nobody with 10 years of experience of privacy. So there's nobody, like very few people are there in the world. So most of the people around. So if I look at an average salary in India right now, that people are getting, and I'll talk in rupees, right? I'll talk in
Sure.
rupees. So I feel like 0 to 2 years, right? 0 to 2 years. I feel somewhere around 4 lakhs to maybe 10 lakhs, 0 to 2 years, 4 lakhs to 10 lakhs. Uh, after that, I feel 2 years to 4 years, I feel somewhere around 12 lakhs to 18 lakhs. And from 4 years to, I feel 6 years, which is the maximum, I guess, I feel there is no foundation, because somebody who has crossed or clocked more than 3 years or 4 years in privacy is doing really well. Then some people have salaries of 30 lakhs, some people have salaries of in 6 years have 60 lakhs. So it's one of the fastest, highest paying field in information security, cyber security around. And I feel the next, I feel as, because what is happening is demand versus supply is very fluctuating, and it's not there, right? Demand is very high. A lot of people also ask me, Akash, what will happen in recession? I'm like, how will it affect us? There is nobody who can hire a privacy professional right now in India. So it's a recession free, market proof, like everything. I think we have we're very lucky to be in the field, and people who are joining in, guys, this is the moment, right? This is the moment. Yeah.
I think we are in a revolution wherein privacy is in demand. Lot of countries are passing law. Recession may impact some countries and some jobs, even in privacy, but that doesn't mean you will not find another one because the demand is far exceeding the supply we have. But when we talk about the salaries which you mentioned, I think one thing I want to quantify or make it explicit is don't think you have 4 years of experience and you're going to get 40 lakhs just because you have 4 years. You need to have 4 years of genuine, hardcore, real experience with the right attitude. Because a lot of people come or when we interview, they show 6, 7, 8 years of experience. When you ask them the first or second question, you know what's going on. And you at least I am thinking like, do I continue the interview or where do I go? Because you have to be respectful and you have to be also cognizant of what is the outcome.
It's very true. It's if see 4 years of experience means 4 years of every day 10 hours of hard work, and I don't mean like 2 hours of hard work. So if somebody was in privacy, honestly, everybody I know in privacy, there was so much work that we all have been doing over hours for years now. Everybody I know has been doing it, but I definitely know there are some people who didn't do it, and they didn't get that package because obviously they couldn't justify
Yeah.
themselves. So if you don't know how to do a PIA, or if you don't know how to build a privacy program, then may God help you. So
I think God helps those who help themselves. So I would say,
exactly,
look
yeah,
within, think about what you need to do,
yeah,
and do that because there are
yeah.
no shortcuts. Privacy is a wonderful field. People have wonderful careers. There are wonderful stories, many stories. But you got to do the miles. You got to do the work, and you got to know your stuff. And if you don't know the basics, some of those things are also available in many podcasts, many videos, but you got to do it. It's not about passing a CIPP or CIPM or CIPT. That there are many ways to do it. We help them, you help them, but you got to learn the art of doing things as well. Okay, Akash. Now, all this is good. We talked about how to grow and all these careers.
But I'm sorry to cut you in between. I would actually like to know about the salaries that are ongoing in Belgium. Just an Indian request, yeah,
No,
for
no, that's a
privacy.
good question. It was on my mind also, but I just somehow skipped it. In the conversation I was flowing. So yes, if you look at on the other side in Europe, even I'm working with US clients, so I can give that perspective. I think salaries are starting from around 30,000 euros per year up to around 150 to 200,000 euros. And I know people who have 300,000 or 400,000 also, but the normal range because there's something called lucky. So 30,000 euros is where you will start as an intern, as a career. Usually it can be 5,000 left or right. Uh, if you are good and you become, and there I don't here people usually will not baseline number of years experience. Here people will baseline based on what you bring to the table. So if you're a fresher starting in privacy, typically 30 to 40,000, 50,000 maybe if you're very lucky. And then after that you grow into role, As soon as you are in a data protection officer, data protection manager role, multi-country role, large organization role, you can go to 70 or 80,000. But when you get into a DPO, also full-fledged DPO, group DPO, you are between 70 and 100,000. Now, if you are lucky, a large corporate group, multiple countries, multiple entities, you are in that 100 plus range. And there, based on where you are. Now, US companies, when you work for, they have this concept of chief privacy officer or head of privacy, usually chief privacy officer. There, even a privacy manager would be paid around $200,000. Earlier, I was talking about euros. And then finally, quarter of a million or even more is possible. But I think the saturation point starts when you are around 200,000 to 300,000 of 350, 400,000. And then there are bonuses and all those elements as well. And I can say that because I've also experienced that. I've felt that, and I've hired people for that, and I've trained, coached, guided people. And when you tell them, when you guide them, the transparency is the first thing.
Yeah.
So I ask them, what are you getting, what are you looking to get? So those are the numbers I would say.
I just want to add on to that. So I have I was, actually I how I understood the conversation in terms of salaries, and also this is very important for people to know when if they're listening to this conversation. Uh, when somebody has, like, I kind of limited myself to 6 years of experience, but if somebody who's at a DPO level in India, I can bet you, like they are making at least 70 lakhs to 1 CR any day as a DPO in India of a average. Like if you look at any company which is above 30,000 employees, 25, and there
Mhm.
are money in India, right? So I'm just saying, like, there the salary is, six, 70 lakhs, 1 CR around. And why I want to say this is because there was a very good study that I just saw, and because you're talking about a quarter a million, and which is a very high salary, I know, in very good salary in US, and 200K is a very good salary in Europe. But I would feel that I just want to add on to, if you look at purchase power parity, 1 CR is a better salary than, I would say, just for the listeners. So just saying.
Yeah, yeah. And I think you don't need to compare salary in one region to another region, and you don't need to also have that. Maybe temptation sometimes is there in Asian colleagues, especially India, saying, I want to go on site, I want to be here, I'm getting this, there I will get that. But you also need to be aware of and cognizant of the expenses, and maintaining the standard of living would also be higher there. So if your salary is maybe 2x or 4x, your expenses would be maybe 5x. So don't think that you'll spend what you're spending in India and get the European salary and live in Europe. Well, that is not going to happen. So you need to be understanding that where and what your choices are. I mean, uh, in this podcast, usually I don't talk about, but it's important since we are having a conversation. In all fairness, some luxuries people talk about, having a driver, having a maid. Those are luxuries, those are necessities in India, but those are luxuries in Europe. So you need to be aware of those aspects. And
Yeah.
but it's a different lifestyle, it's a different purchasing power parity, it's all things are different. So don't compare salaries just like number quantitatively, because some of my colleagues in India, especially my friends, they compare numbers, and numbers is one thing, but behind it there's a lot that goes in.
I am very cognizant about that, and I think the second part of this conversation is also very important for people here, because because you should be you should choose a life, you should choose a different life, not just a different country, right? That's what I wanna kind of let people also get that information. Don't just get attracted. Get attracted to maybe something which is culture, but not just because you're getting highly paid. So that thought process as Indians we need to change. Yeah.
Right, but I think it's a it's a learning you have. When I came in, you usually come for, okay, I want to go to on site. Then you come in, you usually want to save. Then once you have saved, then you say, no, I want to stay and save more. And then you have change your priorities and say, no, I want to live here. And then you say, I want to integrate here. And then you say, I want to adopt this lifestyle. And I look, then the expenses now naturally go up and savings naturally go down. So hit it very well, saying you're not choosing a career, you're choosing a lifestyle. Because even in privacy, it's a different mindset. You cannot say I don't respect privacy, but I will talk about privacy. Well, that is not going to work. You need to live and breathe the concepts. Anyhow, I think very wonderful conversation. But if I may ask you to share, what does Tsaaro do? How do you bring people in all this, that is careers and everything?
So Tsaaro kind of is divided into three parts now. Um, we have a consultancy business. We have an academy where we teach people, and then we are system integrators where we are one trust big ID resellers. So what we do, like when I wake up, so when I wake up, I am a consultant. So building privacy programs around. In afternoon, I think we have an academy. I think we have taught more than 1,000 people, 1,500 people now in India privacy. So we are also one of the leading privacy in India. System integrators, we are partners with everyone. So that's what we do, right? It's from teaching people to implementing privacy programs in their organizations. That's what we're doing here in India. Yeah.
That's very well said. And I would say you're not, probably, you are certainly the number one privacy provider in India. And you're also the official partner of IAPPs, and you're doing very well. So if anyone in India is looking for a certification, Tsaaro is the name not only to consider but to opt for.
Thank you for that. And yeah, if in terms of privacy, I think if you we're just I think we're just behind a few big fours, and I think in consulting business we will soon be taking that position where we'll be very well settled and we'll solve a lot of problems in India. So that's what we are after, not after competition at all, but just solving problems around the industry. Yeah.
I think some problem solving or service is what we need to look at, and you're doing very well on that. So, Akash, thank you so much. Very wonderful conversation, no script, nothing, and flowing, and that's what I like. So, thank you so much, and have a wonderful day.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Puneet, and it was a pleasure to be on your podcast. And have a nice day.
Thanks for listening. If you liked the show, feel free to share it with a friend and write a review. If you have already done so, thank you so much. And if you did not like the show, don't bother and forget about it. Take care and stay safe. Fit for Privacy helps you to create a culture of privacy and manage risks by creating, defining, and implementing a privacy strategy that includes delivering scenario-based training for your staff. We also help those who are looking to get certified in CIPP-E, CIPM, and CIPT through on-demand courses that help you prepare and practice for certification exam. Want to know more? Visit www.fit4privacy.com. That's www.fit4privacy.com. If you have questions or suggestions, drop an email at hello@fit4privacy.com. Until next time, goodbye.